After 3 days in the hospital, Trump returned to the White House, highly contagious, took off his mask before entering, actively spewing millions of particles of virus everywhere, endangering the entire staff, some of whom will probably get sick and maybe die. Then shot and released a propaganda video looking like weak, wheezy Mussolini, urging Americans to not let COVID dominate them. The White House has decided not to contact trace guests at the super spreader event in the Rose Garden for his Handmaid's Tale Supreme Court nominee, because, you wouldn't want to know who's actually sick or spreading it more, would you? Judges Thomas and Alito want to reconsider the 2015 case legalizing same-sex marriage, saying it impedes religious freedoms. Goddamn, fuck you religious bigots. Can't you just mind your own goddamn business? This is why we have to vote, kids. I wonder what's gonna happen tomorrow.
But I just got approved to get my tubes tied.
Just got approved. Approved. Received permission from her doctor to undergo a medical procedure that will prevent her from getting pregnant. A grown-ass woman having to get permission from somebody else to have something done exclusively to her own body that does not hurt anybody else. Does this not piss anyone else off? And that's on male fucking privilege.
That all of the water levels around the world rise by let's say 5 feet over the next 100 years, say 10 feet by the next 100 years, and it puts all the low-lying areas on the coast underwater, right? Which, let's say all of that happens. You think that people aren't going to just sell their homes and move?
Just one small problem! Sell their houses to who, Ben? Fucking Aquaman!
I knew this question was coming, and I waited until someone asked it nicely to respond. So no, there's no such thing as white pride, in part because there is no white culture. You can have pride based on your ethnicity, like Scottish, German, Irish. You can even have regional pride, like Southern pride. These things usually apply to your cultural identity, like how you grew up, etc. And I had some people argue, well, other colors have pride, and no, they don't. Chicano, Latino pride, Asian pride, those are not colors. The one exception is Black pride, and that's because they've had a unique experience no one else has. Black Americans were robbed of their culture. They don't know where they come from. Two Black Americans meet. They could have come from warring African tribes. They don't know. What they do know is their American experience was similar. In other words, the thing that connects them is the color of their skin and how society has treated them as a result. You also have to consider where the terms white pride and black pride originate. White pride was coined by white supremacists. Black pride is from the Black Power and Civil Rights movement. So one represents superiority and hate, and the other a fight for equality.
My girlfriend said she'd leave me if I didn't support Trump. I said, Biden.
I'm sorry for dripping, but drip is what I do. And one of these days I'm gonna get dressed and drip all over you.
The only real mistake Kamala Harris made tonight was over-smirking, over-smiling.
She was just not prepared for it. You could see it in the facial expressions, in the attitude that she took.
I'm speaking! She barked again and again when Mike Pence tried to respond to her.
You interrupted me,
September 30th,
Are you going to apologize, Jeff? No.
I'm an elderly woman.
Let me talk. Quiet.
She could do a little more than make these awkward smiles and just shake her head.
I don't think she did a good job of making herself likable, and the scowls and the funny faces were not that helpful.
Those smirks and nods and eye rolls and
those facial expressions and the way she behaved were really off-putting.
Well, not even the plexiglass could contain that strong side eye that Kamala Harris was giving the vice president.
Smug, smirking. It's not something Americans or regular people like.
What people took away from it was a bit abrasive, a bit condescending.
Don't ever use the word smart with me. Don't ever use that word. There's nothing smart.